Okay. Oh, here we go. Well, thank you. Thank you for joining me. I don't, can you, yeah, I just want to make sure you can hear me okay. If you can, would you just go ahead and drop a yes in the chat for me? Just want to make sure that you guys can hear me. Got my mic on and I think everything's working. I just want to make sure we have good audio. Great. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, good. That's great. And I'd love to know like what city you're from. And we're probably going to have people coming in from California, from Washington. Probably maybe some people from around Oregon as well. Just if they're relocating into a different part of Oregon. But a lot of guests may come from Southern California, around Seattle is where a lot of people come into our area from. Um, so let me know, are you currently a homeowner or will it be a first time purchase for you as you're coming into the area? If in fact you're looking to buy real estate, love to know a little bit more about your particular situation. So that's great. And don't feel bad. Like if it is your first purchase, that's exciting. We work with all kinds of people. In fact, sometimes people move into Bend and they'll rent for a little while before they actually buy. So that's totally fine. Don't worry about that at all. Just want you to know that and feel comfortable. So let's get started. I'm excited to introduce myself to you. I'm Paul Frazier. Yes, Mr. Bend, Oregon. It's true. It is the name of my business. It's the name of all my social media. So if you want to find me, it's easy to find me. And I want to tell you, you're probably wondering, well, why is Paul Frazier, uh, why is he doing the webinar? Why am I qualified to help you in this journey of relocating? And I want you to feel comfortable knowing that you're working with somebody that has been in your shoes. I've done what you're doing. I've, gone through this myself like many years ago, and I'll tell you about my story. But I have been, directly involved in the real estate market in the housing industry for over 30 years. And it started out small and, over the years built several different companies, different parts of the housing industry, and ended up full-time in real estate, which is just kind of like perfect fit, kind of the culmination of all my skills and life experience. And of course, my life here in Central Oregon. So this is a webinar tonight, which is specifically geared for people who are interested in relocating into Central Oregon. I've been living here in Bend, Oregon for like I said, for 30 years. So we do sell real estate all around Oregon. So maybe you're interested in real estate on over on the coast, down south, over in the Eastern Oregon. We're all over the place here in Oregon. So, it'll all be relevant. So don't worry about that. So regardless, however, my focus tonight is really going to be kind of centered on specific details surrounding Central Oregon. So I want you to feel comfortable knowing that I have the experience to help you, and I've helped hundreds of people and families make that transition. So I want to introduce you to my family. This is actually a photo of my family when we moved here. This is me actually with hair, in case you were wondering. And we were doing the plaid shirt family portrait. So these are my children. About the time we moved here, I think this is probably maybe like a year into after we'd moved here. But you get the feel. We were a young family, and we made that huge move. Into California, into Oregon. So just a little bit more history about me. I want you to really kind of understand. I was born and raised in the Sierra Nevada range in California. Grew up there. You may be familiar if you're from California, from like around the Bay Area. You'll probably recognize Sonora, Angels Camp, Bear Valley. And got out of high school, went to work in the Bay Area in a family business, met my wife, started our family. And about the time we had four children under the age of 6, we just decided that it was time for us to make some changes. And maybe that's about where you are right now in the process. And it was a lot because think about this 30 years ago, there was no Facebook, no YouTube, no webinars, no smartphones. We didn't own a computer. Really, all the only reason we knew about Oregon, about Central Oregon, was because a friend recommended that we take a look at it. Because what we were doing is we were investigating Idaho, Washington, Montana, all over the Northwest because it was fairly easy for us to get there because we would have to drive there and, see what it was like. There was no information. So we had to actually go there and see it for ourselves. So things have really changed a whole lot. Now you can have all the information, in your hand, and you can have all the details. You can assemble your team. You can watch videos endlessly. Just go to my YouTube channel if you want to see everything you want to know about Central Oregon. But it wasn't like that then. So a friend of mine said, "You know what? You guys need to go take a look at Sisters, Oregon." Never heard of it, but it sounded like a cool country western town, and so we thought, "Yeah, let's go take a look at it." We drove up, had the kids, no money, really, we weren't dialed like a lot of you guys are. Okay, we weren't ready. We were just crazy enough to do it, and so we were just going for it. And we drove up into Bend. As we came through Bend, headed towards Sisters, which is one of the towns we work in now. It's about 30 minutes northeast, northwest of us, and we discovered Bend. And so it took us about literally about 30 minutes to realize, wow, this is a beautiful place. It's just so obvious. It's such a special, rare place that we dove in and, we just went all in. We made plans, we sold everything we had, we found a rental, we got the U-Haul truck, we came. So that was, we made that journey. And that's a journey that a lot of you are on right now. I wish that I had known me then because wow, that would have been so much easier. We came at the wrong time of the year. We had no plans. Like we didn't have all I knew is that we were going to go for it and we would figure it out. I did have my contractor's license for Oregon, so that was helpful. And I was going to be starting a business in Oregon, but we didn't know a soul in Bend, Oregon. We just went for it. Our kids were young. They thought we were having a fun adventure, although it was terrifying. Okay. So, you know, that's my story. I wanted you to hear my story because most of you might be worried, might feel like you're nervous or concerned about things, but I can assure you the worst of your stories are better than my story. And uh, we didn't hardly have a plan. So now I am helping people make that same journey, whether it's from California or Washington or Texas or Florida, New York. We have clients from all over the country coming here and, you know, becoming, a part of our community. So trust me, I understand the process that you're in, and I want to introduce you to part of my team. These are some of my most trusted associates in real estate. My son is on the left. That's Micah. Micah's thing is really more multifamily investment properties, kind of his thing. He sells all kinds of real estate. Debbie Leahy is our team coordinator. She has 30 years in real estate. She's a local Oregonian, been living in the area. She actually lives in Sisters, and she's phenomenal at what she does. And you'll get to know her if we get into a real estate purchase for you. Now, Rebecca is my youngest daughter, who's always been the oldest for some reason. I don't know why, but that's just the way it's always been. And Rebecca lives in Redmond. And it's funny because we used to live in Redmond. And then she always said, I'm going to leave, I'm going to move. And she did. She moved to Hawaii. She came back. Now she has her own daughter. She bought a house in Redmond. She loves it. And she really specializes in those rural properties. She's kind of the farm girl. She knows ranches and farms and rural property. She loves the Redmond area, but she does sell a lot of real estate, all around Central Oregon. She grew up here. She's as close to a native as you're going to find. So her local experience is really invaluable. And then Cody Lowe, he's one of our top lenders right now that we would recommend. We're going to be talking about loans, lending, and options. We're not going to go totally deep dive into it, but we will be talking about, some of those things that are very important to your transaction. So I wanted you to know that it's important to to have a team. It's important to have those trusted individuals around you. Okay, and let me ask you if some of this sounds familiar, because these are some common questions that I hear from my clients over and over and over again. And there's a longer list, but these are just a few. So what if we can't find a house? Now, could you imagine if I couldn't find you a house? How, I mean, that would be pretty sad if I couldn't find you a house. But it is a real question. People worry like, what are we going to find that we can afford and that kind of thing. We're going to get into that, so don't worry. But what if our kids can't make friends? And that's a question that really comes from the heart because, families are worried about their kids um, reconnecting. Maybe they have relationships and friends at school now, and you're pulling them out and you're relocating and you feel guilty about it. But trust me, the majority of people that live here in Central Oregon came from somewhere else. And it's a very interesting vibe because Bend is attracting very similar types of people. It's a very interesting vibe, and your kids are going to connect right away with other children that have come from California, Washington, New York. It's every single day here. It's very common. Now, I know we can talk more about that, a lot more about that, but I just want to put you a little bit at ease. Okay. What's the market like in Bend, Oregon right now? This might be the most common question right now, with rates at 7%, a lot of uncertainty in the world market and such things that are all the news that's happening. Yeah, what's going on in the market? But I would say right now, in some ways, it's definitely a buyer's market. If you're watching Zillow, you're going to see a lot of price reductions. I had a client reduce a property the other day by $200,000, and today she dropped it another 100,000. So in that regard, it's a buyer's market. But then you might think, yeah, but rates are high, and that's true, and that's something that we have to work through. But I think with some creative financing and the right people on your team and some strategy that we can talk about later, we're gonna explain some ways that will help you get where you want to go. And then one of the questions that does come up a lot and I would like you to put into drop me a message in the text if you're relating to this, because people worry if they're coming from somewhere else, maybe where there's a different culture, are they going to be are they going to be received well? So are Oregonians, are they mad at newcomers? Is there a lot of strife with newcomers? Now here's where this comes from. If you're in social media groups on Facebook, you may have experienced a person posting, a comment like, go home, don't come here, it's too crowded, making kind of rude comments like that. And I think that it's just the reality of humanity. There's always someone who is disgruntled. Um, and it's true, Bend is growing. When we moved to Bend, it was 18,000 people, and it's over 100,000 people now. So I understand when someone says they're a little upset about the newcomers coming, but the funny thing is they probably just moved here from California. It's very funny that people will move here from somewhere else and then they'll say, "Oh, we don't want it to grow anymore," because we all want it to stay the same. But the truth of the matter is that anything that's alive, anything that's great, anything that's attractive is going to bring people in. It's one of the realities in living in a beautiful place like Central Oregon. So yeah, Juliana, yeah, it does sound familiar to you. Okay, and Rebecca, you own your home. Okay, that's great. So we could probably talk a little bit about what that's like for you if you're selling wherever you are moving in. We're going to get into that, so don't worry. Um, so let me go over today's agenda a little bit. I want to be respectful of your time. I want to make sure this is a really power-packed presentation for you and that it has a lot of value, and I don't want to waste any of your time. Now, maybe you should take some notes, maybe write down a few questions, but I can tell you, don't worry. In fact, if you look in the comments, I've already placed a link there for you to book a call with me. If you'd like to book a call with me, we can go deep dive into this whole process. So I don't want you to be distracted with trying to write down everything that I'm saying. And I am recording this call, so I can always send it to you. So don't worry about that. Um, and we will have a Q&A. There's a lot of information. And this webinar really is to introduce you to myself and vice versa, and for us to build some rapport, and for me to maybe open your mind to some ideas about the process that you're in. Okay, so um, here's some thoughts and some things that we're going to be talking about. Your first property is often the most difficult one to purchase. Well, why would that be? Let me share a quick thought with you on that because I've done this hundreds of times. I'm going to blame the problem on social media and on reality TV shows. It's really kind of a joke because there's reality, true reality that you find when we're getting into really buying a home or relocating. There's the real stuff that goes on. And then there's stuff that Hollywood puts together that really has people with some wrong ideas and expectations. So one of the problems is getting past the wrong information and helping you get into reality and understanding the truth, the facts, all of the right information about uh, the whole process. So that sometimes is a challenge. And so that's what can make it difficult. For a good example of that is if you have a $500,000 budget, but you have a $1 million, you know, idea of what your budget is, and that's the house you want to buy. Well, that's going to just be a problem, right? We have to work through that, but that's something we deal with all the time. So really having realistic expectations can only come from working in reality, which is part of what I'm going to be introducing you to tonight and helping you maybe even come and visit and see it for yourself. This really grounds you and gets you working in the right direction. And so getting comfortable with real estate is also something that is along the same lines of what I'm talking about. As you become more educated and informed, you become more comfortable with the whole idea of real estate. And so that's a process, okay? I don't want you to think like you got to know everything right now. You might be an experienced buyer, you might be new in real estate. I'm not sure yet, and this is one reason why I hope you'll book a call with me and so that we can go deeper into that. Um, we're going to be talking about the journey timeline. There's definitely a timeline, like for example, seasons, when are the best times to come, when's the best time to go, uh, to buy, to visit, that type of thing. The pros and the cons of it, I will be sharing with you. Um, the timeline of how long it takes to kind of settle into what you're doing. This is also a process. We're going to be definitely going into that and just talking about some people take years. I have clients that are now friends of mine that were thinking about moving for 20 years. And they actually needed to finish their careers, they had to retire, they had to plan, they had to come and visit. So they had to get settled into it, they had to establish their plan. And then they also had to overcome their fear. And that's something that keeps a lot of people from doing anything at all. In fact, one of my most successful videos on my YouTube channel was a video that I made a couple years ago, standing down at the Deschutes River downtown. And I was just sharing a very common thing about fear as I'm talking with people. And I was telling folks, because there's the what ifs. People would say, well, what if this and what if that and what if this and what if that? And and I shared the thought, which is, the thing that you should be most concerned about, what you should be afraid of, and that is not pursuing your dream. Not pursuing your dream is the thing that you should fear the most. And that was the video. And one of my clients was a, a client at first. We've become friends now. He and his wife were watching that video and they looked at each other and they smiled and they said, "Oh my gosh, we're calling Paul." That's it. This guy's talking to us. I mean, I was talking to myself. I was talking to everybody, right? It's just so true. He did call me. We did start talking. He had his fears and worries, but over time, it was probably about a year for them. They ended up buying a home here, and they made the journey, and they're living their dream life now. It's really exciting. So you're going to be okay. All right, that's what I'm saying. So in this process, one of the first things we like to talk about, and this is part of what you have to approach, is the money. Again, I don't know you or your situation. You might have cash. You might be needing to sell your home, like Rebecca is, and or you might be renting somewhere in Los Angeles right now. Either way, the most responsible thing to do, at the appropriate time, is to have a trusted lender that you can reach out to and that you can start that conversation with and talk about the money. Okay. There's a lot to talk about there. There's a lot of things, but knowing what your budget is really important. We're going to be diving into that a little bit. So if you tell me you have a $500,000 budget and that's what your lender has approved you for, I can tell you what part of the area that you're going to be living in. I could give you all your options. If you tell me you have a $1 million budget, but you haven't gotten approval yet, you might be really wrong. And we might spend time looking at homes that you get excited about that you can't buy, and that's just going to be a disappointment. So that's something that I like to have you do earlier on rather than later. So where the money is coming from is kind of the point where are you selling? Have you saved the money? Do you have a home you're going to sell? Maybe is that an investment property? Because maybe it's a 1031 exchange. I know you may or may not know what that is, and I don't want to overwhelm you with a lot of real estate, legal mumbo jumbo. But I want you to realize is that I don't know what your details are, and as we get to know each other, I'll be able to really pinpoint what is best for you. So trusted lender and trusted team and good conversation, we can bring it all together. Most people don't know that there are a lot of options. There are also creative ways to make a real estate purchase that you probably are not aware of. It's really interesting. Most people only know about a conventional loan, which I run into people all the time and they'll say, I haven't bought a home yet because I'm saving my 20% for a down payment. I know the average price of a home is $1 million. And so I need $200,000 cash. And I just said, no, that's not the case at all. I mean, good for you that you're willing to go through that and save money like that. But that's not actually, there's so many options. For example, are you aware that there's what we call an FHA loan, a VA loan, a USDA loan? Now, VA loan, a lot of people know what that is. If you're a veteran and you're retired from the military, thank you for your service. Really appreciate you. And because you served, you have access to one of the best loans in the world. A VA loan is a zero down payment loan, very much like the VA is the USDA, okay, which is backed by the United States Department of Agriculture. Now, I didn't even know this until 4 or 5 years ago. I didn't realize this USDA loans is something that everybody needs to at least consider. Now, these would be more like rural properties But in a place like Redmond, Oregon, I think I mentioned that video. I just made a video of this listing in Redmond, and the title was something like "The Best Value in Central Oregon Right Now, $550,000." That house probably qualifies for a USDA loan. I mean, a lot of Redmond properties qualify for a zero down loan, and they don't even know it. Now, there are some requirements, there are certain restrictions and limits to your income and credit scores. Of course, that's with every loan. So don't let that bother you. What I want to do is put you in touch with a lender that can say, we have all of these products, and you probably already have what you need to actually purchase a home in Central Oregon. You didn't know it. Now, now, you may not be able to get that USDA loan in the middle of Los Angeles, but you can get it in Central Oregon. There are options around Bend and around Redmond, around Lapine, all around our Prineville, all around here. So I'm hoping that now, that's opening your mind. Now, if you've heard about the USDA loan, would you just type that into the message? Just drop me a message like, yeah, I heard about it or not, because it'd be interesting. A lot of people never heard of that or zero down loans at all. And so they spend years saving while prices are going up, and probably with inflation, and if you get caught in the wrong cycle, you're going to never buy a house. And that's what we are trying to help you is to break out of that and get into home ownership as soon as possible. Okay. That's one of our goals. One of our goals is also just to help you go through the process and find out if this is a good place for you. Okay. So, as I asked you, were you aware of these programs? If not, I can hook you up. I know all the right people that you don't know. I know everybody that you need to know. Okay. I've got 30 years in Central Oregon meeting all the right people and weeding out all the wrong people. And that goes for lenders too. Okay. I can tell you I'm hard to get along with when it comes to lenders. We want the best, the high producing proof producers, we call them in our industry. They have to be able to deliver what they promise you. Just so you know, like that's our goals. We want you to have the best experience. So, at some point along here, I'm going to be pitching my free one-on-one consultation a few times with you along the way. And I will tell you, like that's my goal. I really would like a personal conversation with you rather than just the webinar. I want to educate you here, but really my goal is to connect with you, meet you, and um, have a real conversation, old school. That's my goal. So I want to share some of the top tier, some of the A team, like we have the people. I know what it's like. I've purchased real estate in other states, and when you go to that other place, you don't know anybody. You don't know who to call. I know everybody that you need to call, and these are the right people that are vetted. Lenders, I've mentioned, property managers. So let's say you want to buy a rental, you're going to need property management. Well, there's like 45 companies in Bend. Who are you going to call? I can tell you the top three, okay? And they have the best rates. And when I refer you to them, they're going to give you the red carpet because they compete for my business, okay? My son and daughter and I will sell over 60 to almost $70 million of real estate every year. They want our business, and so they're going to jump through hoops for you. That's our goal, okay? So property managed, title companies, you're going to get better rates. Contractor, contractors, who are you going to call? I definitely know the right contractors, and that list is a long one. Okay, we'll talk more about that. Inspectors is another really big one. If you're buying a house, you better have a good inspector, or that's something that could cost you thousands of dollars if you make that mistake. There's a lot of inspectors who are working at McDonald's in the morning and doing your inspection in the afternoon. It's a part-time gig. They have no real experience. You need to know that whoever's crawling under your house and looking at your pipes and electrical, that they know what they're talking about. And it's something that we take a lot of pride in making sure. Like I've been using the same inspector for years, probably 10 years. And we have our top three. Sometimes the schedule, I can't get that guy, but I can get this one. They're great. So I'm hoping that this brings you some feeling of security. Tell me if this makes you feel a little better. Let me know, because I'm hoping that my goal is to make you feel more at ease in the whole process. Okay. So I mentioned timing earlier and the timeline. So timing really matters in Oregon because we're a four-season state. It snows here, it rains a little bit here, it gets hot in the summer, we have a fall season that's beautiful. But if you don't know those timelines, it could really affect you and how you're going to, be able to look at the area. So let's just not talk about buying a house right now. Let's just talk about you coming into town and having the best experience where you can experience the whole Central Oregon area. And you can find out, is this for me or not? Well, if you do that in the wrong season, you're going to have a bad experience. I would like you to see it in the summer so that you could experience the outdoor lifestyle that so many people are moving here for. I mean, for some people, that is their main thing. Okay. Now, in the winter time, if you ski, that's great. Come and ski. However, it's not the best time to look at a house because there's snow on the roof potentially, and the ground is covered with snow, and you can't see the landscaping. We don't know if it has a good roof. We don't know if the landscaping, if the irrigation works. However, if a person has their house listed in the middle of the winter in January, they probably are willing to sell it. You might get a great deal on something if we could figure out what the risk is like. So summertime, you're going to have better viewing. You're going to have more homes on the market, but you'll also have more people here that want to buy, competing with you. But really important thing is that you come here and you get to experience what the area is really all about. Hiking, biking, outdooring, adventuring. Bend is a great central hub for all of Oregon. A couple days ago, I was on the coast. I should have put a picture in the webinar. Yeah, my wife and I were over on the coast a few days ago. We love going over to Oregon coast. It's absolutely stunning. You got to put it on your bucket list. It's beautiful. So 3 hours away, you're on the ocean. If you go east, you're out in the desert at Painted Hills. Look that up. So Oregon is very diverse. If you come in the wrong season, you may not get to see it. Okay, so that's something I want to bring to your attention, and I want to talk to you about the timing of that. So right now, if you look at this chart, okay, there's some different things you just want to be aware of. If you're thinking about coming into Central Oregon in June, July, August, September, okay, okay, there's going to be more people in town, so it's going to feel a little more crowded, just so you know, because kids are out of school, people are in the middle of moving here, buying houses or vacationing. Um, but it'll be fun. Okay, it'll be a great time for you to come and check it out. I highly recommend that you book a place as soon as possible and plan a trip to get here. Otherwise, you may not be coming here. You're gonna need a place to stay. There's great hotels, there's great Airbnbs, and if you want to, book that call with me and I'll tell you where to stay. I've got a list of all the best places to eat, where to stay, everything to do. We got you covered, okay? So July, August, September. August is going to be the hottest season. Our hot season might be 80s, but it might be 100 degrees also. Not a lot of that, but it does happen. It does get hot here in the summer. September, October, really beautiful. The weather is turning a little cooler. It's going to be fall. It's absolutely stunning. You can still get up into the high lakes and see the river. You've got to do that. You've got to plan a hike while you're here. Okay. So the timing is really it really does matter. And if you just show up at the wrong time, you're going to probably waste time and waste money, and I don't want you to do that. So there's definitely a roadmap, and I don't know where you are right now on your roadmap, on my roadmap. Okay, station one where you're just dreaming. Dreaming is fine. I think that's great. That's maybe the hardest one because it's the beginning. But congratulations if you're at step one in the dream stage. Go ahead and dream and let your dream kind of lead you, into, imagining yourself here and overcoming some of the fear. That's definitely going to be a real thing. Like if you feel that, if you feel anxiety when you think about packing, selling, moving, finding a place to live, trust me, you're just normal. Okay. I just want you to know that you're going to be fine. Everybody goes through that. And I think that the research stage, which is stage three, helps to bring down the anxiety, your fear, and will help you just be more comfortable and confident in the journey. Okay. So I kind of hope that you're entering into that stage. And I hope to be part of that. The information that I can provide you should be able to educate you and make you feel confident if you're thinking about Central Oregon. So taking action, scheduling a trip, putting it on the calendar, taking off time from work, we can continue to communicate along the way, get here and explore. Okay. Exploring, finding out if you love it, if you don't love it. And I do say that because I think I think it's a real thing. But you got to give me a call so that we can really talk through the details. Now, what's the main thing? And that's something I say to people a lot. Um, I'll say, keep the main thing the main thing. And I have clients, they'll always make a joke about it because I'll say they get distracted with things and they will they want to get off track. I'll say, wait a minute, let's keep the main thing here, the main thing. What is your main thing? Is it the house, or do you just want to like buy the couch? Okay, like, let's stay focused. It's funny. A lot of people fall in love with the house, but they fall in love with the furnishings, or hey, you just got to throw in the hot tub. Like, don't get distracted with that stuff. Okay. So one of the things I wanted you to do and start to really think about is knowing what your main thing is. What's a big deal to you? I can tell you an example. Like right now, I'm dealing with a couple. They're actually renting right now. They moved up from California and Manhattan Beach, and they're looking for a house. But their main thing is the school that their son is registered to. He's only like 9 years old, but it was very difficult to get him into this one particular elementary school. And they want to be walking distance to that school. So um, they are looking at homes that are walking distance or biking distance to that school. Now, that's a good example. They have passed on some amazing houses because it was just too far. It was going to take too long to get the son there to school every morning. So that's legit, right? School, lifestyle. Lifestyle is a big one because a lot of people are moving to Central Oregon for the lifestyle, the hiking, the biking, all the things you want to do. And it's important for you to know if the lifestyle is more important to you than what the house costs. Because I will tell you, the closer that you get to lifestyle that you are dreaming about, and everyone else is also dreaming about it, that might cost a little bit more money. So live in reality, okay? Budget might be your main thing. And trust me, I respect you 100%. If you're one of those people that can say, I've got $700,000 that we can spend. We've got our, we know what the rates are. We know what the costs are. We've done all the math. And now we're looking for a home that fits our budget. That's our main thing. We're not going to come up and spend $1 million just because we could potentially do that. That might be your main thing. Okay. Or it's the season of life that you're in. Okay, and here's a good example of that. Let's say that you're retiring and you're going into a phase of your life where you want to enjoy the outdoors and you want to have a great time. But maybe you're 70, 75, or maybe older. The last thing you want to do is to go buy a 3-story house. And if you fall in love with a 3-story house, I can tell you that that love affair is going to be really expensive because you will be selling and moving again. You need to find a home that fits you. You need to find a single level home. Doesn't that make sense? Now you may understand that, but I've had clients and people have hired me to sell their 3-story homes that they fell in love with that they can't get up the stairs now. So that's something, right? This stuff happens. So less stress. freedom. These are all great things. Am I touching on some sensitive areas, or some, are you connecting with me on this? I hope so. I hope so. Because I want you to think through it, okay? I want you to be thinking about it. What kind of home are you looking at? Maybe it's a single family home, like a lot of people are dreaming about, but maybe your dream home is a multifamily home. And let me tell you, this is becoming more and more of a thing. You might say, well, Paul, it's our first home. Well, the your first home, dream home, might be a duplex where you could rent one unit, and that helps to pay the mortgage on your unit. That becomes your investment property in the future, and you make your next step into another property. So maybe that's your dream, to get into real estate investing. We can help you with that. Maybe a condo, maybe a townhouse with no maintenance where you can come and go. Maybe you rent it part-time. That's a big thing. Short-term rental properties, very popular option. If you want to visit Bend a couple of weeks a year and rent it the rest of the time, there's some very specific things you need to know, rules and regulations, but that's a great dream. But we can help you make that a reality. We do it every day. And then of course ranches. Maybe you want to live on an acre, 2 acres, 10 acres. We've got ranches around here. We've got property. I've got a 40-acre property in Tumalo. I've got a 80-acre property up in Madras. We got properties all over the place that might be your dream home. Okay. So hope you're seeing why this is important. And that's kind of the point. The point is, what I'm really saying is, it's important for you to find the right home that you love, but that also is the right fit for you. Okay. And I don't want to just help you find a home that I want to sell you. I want to help you find the right home that is a good fit that you love. Okay. So, hopefully this is making sense. I know it's a lot of information. So, I get it. Let me know if you're connecting with some of this. I hope this is helpful. And as I said, I mean, I think that my goal in this is to connect with you. And the webinar, I want it to be helpful. I can't answer all the questions and go over every detail. So, and I'm going to make you a special offer tonight. And that is, if you'll book your call with me and we start working together, and I eventually help you buy a home here, my gift to you, if you're registering with me tonight, is I will buy you a home warranty that's valued at over $500. So I'm giving you a $500 gift tonight. So hopefully that's enough of a motivation for you to get on the phone with me and talk about it, right? I'm not trying to sell you something, but I'm going to give you that in advance. Okay. And that's a gift I want to give you, because it also will help lower your stress. It will save you money, and it will just make your whole experience a lot better. Okay. So step number 5, and we are nearing the end of the webinar, but we'll have a Q&A here in a minute. I want you to, and I want to encourage you and hopefully motivate you to start making your plan now. And what that needs to be is just one step in the right direction. Schedule a trip is something you need to do, but the first thing you need to do is make a decision and make a commitment to yourself that you're going to do it. Grab your phone, grab your calendar, look at your schedule. When can you get off work? Make a plan, come into Bend, and experience it for yourself. That is what you have to do to move forward. And trust me, if you're feeling the anxiety and the nerves about it, just keep in mind, I'm going to give you an out on this. Okay, I'm going to get there. I'm going to give you a way to get out of this. You're going to get out of jail for free. Okay, but be open to the process. Be open to the process. And a lot of my clients, we're standing in the living room, and I'll say, okay, just breathe. Okay, in through the nose, and out through the mouth. Just relax, and trust me, it's gonna be okay. All right, you're gonna make it. It's all about surrounding yourself with the right people, experienced agents that have massive experience negotiating, navigating the whole process. mortgage brokers that know how to get you the money for the least amount of cost for you, the best programs, the best deals, whether it's property managers, contractors, insurance agents, home inspectors, all of this team, we're just surrounding you, hopefully making you feel comfortable and knowing that we've got your back and that we've done this hundreds of times. Okay. And I can prove it also. I can prove it with testimonies, interviews, 1,000 videos online, like a lot of history and time in the market here. So I hope you see that. So here's your get out of jail card. I'm going to give you the right to walk away from the whole idea of relocating from where you are to anywhere. And I want to encourage you to really think this through so that I think it'll help you with just moving in the right direction. Don't be afraid to walk away. Okay. Don't be afraid to walk away. If you feel like you have to stay in something out of obligation, it's not going to be the right thing. I want you to have to know now that in this whole process, not everybody decides it's the right thing for them. And it's okay to change your mind if you get into it and you realize this just isn't the right fit for me. There's nothing that locks you into this, but I would say that the whole process is going to make you a better person. It's going to help you in the process of deciding what you want to do. And that's what we're talking about. Maybe relocating isn't the right thing for you, but maybe it is, but you won't know until you actually get there and really try, right? And give it a go. So when you get here and when we get into that process, we're going to try to be cool, calm, and collected. And we're going to be looking at the numbers. It's got to work for you, for your budget. There's not going to be any pressure or sales pitches. And I know from firsthand experience and from helping hundreds of buyers, I know how emotional of a process that it is to to take your hard-earned money and the hours that were represented and to buy a home for your family. It's very emotional, it's very personal. It's what I love about it. I love what I do, is because it is a very important thing to my clients. So I understand that. And I want you to know that I'm here to help you get there, to get all the way through that process. And you know, I have had clients that I've worked with for 5 years before they decided, that they found the right house. So I don't want you to feel obligated. I want you to feel empowered and excited about it. I'm here for you. I'm here for you. I'm here for you through the whole process. I like to say it. I said, let's go down the road together. And I hope that you'll feel comfortable doing that with me. Um, so let's see here. I think we are getting close where I hope you feel you're in capable hands. And that's, exactly, I'm hoping you could type a yes and say, yeah, I trust you. I can tell you know what you're doing because I do. I'm trusting that you're going to book with me and we're going to have that call. And then we can go deep dive into some of these subjects. So thank you for doing that. And now I'm going to open this up for questions and answers. And like I said before, you may want to save some of your questions until we get on our call, which is completely fine with me. At any point, um, if you need to dive off of the webinar, that's fine. Hopefully you booked, or you can come back and you can book later. But I'm really excited about working with you. And if there are any questions that you would like to ask, feel free. I'll do my best to address your questions, or we can wait for our booked call. And I'm totally happy with that too. So um, if there's anything that you have, I'm happy to answer here. Let's see. Okay, so Rebecca is asking, she sent me a private message. What's the best time to visit Bend? In my opinion, I think the best time would be the end of August, first part of September. It's not too hot, it's not as crowded. We'll be able to look at real estate. You'll be able to explore all around Central Oregon. So I think that's what I would recommend. And then depending on the information I gain from you on our call, I might recommend that you come back in the winter and see it in the wintertime too. So that might be a thing, that benefits you the most. So, well, I hope you guys enjoyed the webinar. I hope it was valuable. And thank you for coming. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it, the opportunity. And I look forward to meeting you on our booked call. For now, I'm going to let you go, and I wish you the best. I look forward to meeting you soon. Thanks for joining.